Hello students, welcome once again to online platform of Little Flower School, Salempur. Good morning to everyone. I am Archana Mishra with GSC of class 4th. In last 3 days, we discussed about the first chapter and last day means yesterday we did some exercise too. We have done true false, then choose the correct option, and we have started doing the give reasons. I told you yesterday to note everything whatever I am giving you to write. I told it, no? Yes. And today again you take the same notebook and pencil, and in that you continue writing. But before starting the writing, you have to write the date, then give reasons. You have written yesterday already. And then we will start doing the question number 3, 4 and 5. 3 questions are remaining in this part. The first question is that, please start writing. Roots of some mangrove plants come out of the soil. Roots of some mangrove plants come out of the soil. What is the reason for that? We have to discuss today this. We have to write the answer for that. We know that these mangrove plants are found in the marshy area. Which area? Marshy area. And these plants are totally submerged. Means roots of this plant, not whole plant but the roots only, they are submerged inside the water, and for that reason they are unable to breathe. They are unable to breathe. That's why their roots come out, that they can breathe properly. So what's the reason we have to write? Because roots are submerged in water, thus unable to breathe. Because roots are submerged in water, thus unable to breathe, and for that reason their roots come out of the soil. Write question number 3 and the answer also. Take your time and write. I will tell you the answer once again. Roots of some mangrove plants come out of the soil because roots are submerged in water, thus unable to breathe. Means they are not able to breathe. This is the reason for the question number 3. I hope all of you have written this answer. Now we will move to the next question. And the next question is question number 4. Some water plants float freely on water. About which plants we are talking? The plants which flow freely on the water. About the water plants, and that also the plants which float freely on the water. What is the speciality of this plant? Why they are flowing? We know that suppose if I put this chalk piece into water, what will happen? This will sink. This will sink, no? But this is not the case with this water plant. This is not case with the water plants. They do not sink inside the water, but they float freely on the surface of water. What is the reason for that? And the reason we will write here, it's already written. You have to note it. Please note into your notebook this, because they have spongy bodies. Spongy bodies means that these portions have small spaces in them, and these are filled with air which makes them light, because they have spongy bodies that are filled with air which makes them light. What is the reason for this? Because they have spongy bodies that are filled with air which makes them light. Which makes them light. This is the reason for the question number 4. Is it clear? Have you written it? Please note it. Take your time and write. Understand and write. Once again I will tell the reason for the same question. Some water plants float freely on the surface of water. Why do they float? Because they have spongy bodies, and these spongy bodies, no, that's why they are filled with air, which makes them light, and as their weight is light now, they are able to float over the surface of water. Clear this answer? Yes. Now we will move to the next question and the last question of this portion. Give reasons. Fungi are not able to make their own food. I taught you about this fungi, and I told you one thing, that they are neither plants nor animals. So what are they? They are neither plants nor animals, but they depend on the other organisms for their food. Okay. So why, if they are not plants? Because we know that plants can make their own food, and that's why they come under the category of autotrophs. In next class you will study about autotrophs, heterotrophs, and several other things, and in that context you will study that autotrophs are the organisms which can make their food themselves. And here this fungi is not able to make their own food. Why? Because they are not plants. But what is the main reason behind it? Why it cannot make their food? Because they do not have chlorophyll. Because they do not have chlorophyll. This is the reason for the last give reason. Why? Because they do not have the chlorophyll. Let's revise it once more. You take your time and write. Till the time I am revising, I am reading it once again. You write completely. Then we will move to the last exercise of this chapter, and that is the question answer section. Okay? Yes. Roots of some mangrove plants come out of the soil because roots are submerged in water and thus unable to breathe. And the question number 4, some water plants float freely on the surface of water or float freely on water because they have spongy bodies. That are filled with air. Which makes them light. And now the last question. Fungi are not able to make their own food. Because they do not have chlorophyll. Okay? This is the last answer. Okay? I hope all of you have written now. Take your time and write it properly. Understand and write. Okay? Now, we will move to the next segment, and that is, I am going to rub now. I hope all of you have written properly. Now, we will move to the next segment of the exercise, that is question answers. Okay? Now get ready for writing that. Now write exercise number D. Answer the following. Answer the following. You have to write answer the following into your notebook. Answer the following. And the first question is, what is the first question? Let's see the question. What is adaptation? What is that question? What is adaptation? This is the name of our chapter, no? Do you remember? Do you remember what is the name of the chapter? The chapter's name is Adaptation in Plants. And the first question is asked about that only. What is adaptation? We have to write the answer for this. Please write along with me. Please write along with me. We have to write the answer for this. You recall the answer within your mind? Yes. Adaptation is a special feature. Adaptation is a special feature. This is what? This is feature of the plants or in living beings. Adaptation is a special feature. Adaptation is a special feature that allow a plant why are we writing the plants? It allows animals also, but we are studying about the plants in this chapter. That's why we are writing about the plants. Okay? Yes. That allow a plant to live in a particular place. To live in a particular place. That allow a plant to live in a particular place. This is the answer for the first question. Okay, write it. Now moving on to the next question. What are terrestrial plants? Classify them by giving example of it. What is the meaning of classification or classifying? Means we have to categorize the plants based on their adaptation. We have studied that now. Now it's time for us to give the answer for this question. So kindly note it with me. What are terrestrial plants? First we will write the answer for this. Then we will write the answer for the next question. What are terrestrial plants? And further one more question is given in this question itself. Classify them by giving an example of each. We have to write the answer for this now. What are terrestrial plants? And classify them by giving an example of each. We have to write the definition for this, and then we have to write the name of all its categories with example. Okay? Yes. What is the definition? Let's write it. Terrestrial plants are the plants which grow on the land, which grows on land, Terrestrial plants are the plants. Terrestrial plants are the plants which grow on land. Which grow on land. Now we have to classify them. Then we have to write. They are classified into. They are classified into. They are classified into. We have to write all the classification of it. First one is plants on hills. Do you remember? In last series we have discussed too much about these plants. First one, plants on hills. What is example for that? Because we have to classify by giving one example. One very common example of this plants on hills is Deodar. Then the next one is first one is the plants on hills, and the second one is plants in deserts. Plants in deserts. Plants in deserts. And one example is cactus. Yesterday one question came, no? And choose the correct option. Green fleshy stem. Yes, this cactus only. Then the next classification is plants in plains. Plants in plains. We studied about this also. Deciduous trees. Do you remember deciduous trees? Deciduous trees you remember, no? Yes. That is plants in plains are called the deciduous trees. So many examples of this category is given. Stick, gul, mohar and so many. We have to write one. Stick. Then the next question. Next classification, sorry, not question. Plants on sea coast. Plants on sea coast. Plants on sea coast. Plants on sea coast. And one very common plant is coconut. And next classification I am writing here because the space is not there now. Down I can't write. So I am writing here. The last classification. Plants in marshy areas. Plants in marshy areas. Plants in marshy areas. And example of this plant is mangrove. What is that? Mangrove. Okay? Or mangrove trees we can write. That will be better. Write mangrove trees. Mangrove trees. This is the answer for this question. Please write it. First one, once again I will read. What is adaptation? Adaptation is a special feature that allow a plant to live in a particular place. That allow a plant to live in a particular place. Then the next one is, what are terrestrial plants? Classify them by giving an example of it. What are terrestrial plants? Classify them by giving an example of it. And the answer is, terrestrial plants are the plants which grow on land. They are classified into plants on hills. Example is Deodar. Then plants in deserts, and the example is cactus. Next one, plants in plains, and the example is stick. Then plants on sea coast. Example is coconut. And the last classification is plants in marshy areas, and example is mangrove trees. I hope that you have finished writing the first answer. You have finished, no? Yes. Write along with me. The next question is, how do plants adapt to life in deserts? How do plants adapt to life in deserts? We have studied about this desert plants, and we have studied that they have certain special features. They have certain special features which allow them to survive there, or which have adopted these plants to live in that particular region. And now we have to write the answer for that. Their roots go deep. Their roots go deep and are spread. Their roots go deep and are spread out wide. They are spread out wide to absorb. They are spread out wide to absorb as much underground water as possible. Means by this way they are taking the water. Now we will study we will write how they are storing the water. That their leaves. Now we have studied one question in that last day. We will write that same thing. Their leaves are reduced to spine. Their leaves are. Now I am going to wrap the second question and answer. I hope all of you have finished writing this much. Question you have finished at least. If you have not written the answer, please write fast. Their leaves are reduced to spine to avoid loss of water. Their leaves are reduced to spine to avoid loss of water. Now we will move to the next question, that is fourth question. Now here we have to write the name. Write along with me. Name the three types of aquatic plants. Name the three types of aquatic plants. And then one more question is given in the same question. Give one example of it. Give one example of it. Means we have to name all the three types of aquatic plants, and then we have to write the example of each plant. We know the names because we have studied several times about these plants in the same chapter. Means in last 3 days we have studied, no? Do you remember? Yes. What is the first plant? Floating plant. First category of this plant is floating plant. And the example of floating plant is water hyacinth. Water hyacinth. Water hyacinth. Okay? Yes. Please write with me. Okay? Then the next categorization is fixed plants. Fixed plants. Fixed plants. And the example of this category is your national flower. What is that? Yes, now I think you might have known the answer. Lotus. And the last categorization is underwater plants. Underwater plants. Underwater plants. And the example for this plant is hydrilla. Hydrilla. Now the last question which we are going to see is what is the Venus flytrap special adaptation? This is the last question of the topic. Let's write that. What is the Venus flytrap? What is the Venus flytrap? What is the Venus flytrap special adaptation? Special adaptation. Now we have to write the answer for this. We will write the leaves of this plant. Which plant? This plant means Venus flytrap. Okay, the leaves of this plant. The leaves of this plant are like a trap. When I was teaching you this chapter, I gave you one example, like the fish net, how the fish is caught in that same way, and like a trap, and snap such when an insect sits on them. Now we have finished writing all the exercise of this chapter. Now about this chapter we have finished studying also, doing all the exercise work, and everything is finished. Now when I come the next day, I will start with the new chapter. Now you have only one work, that is to finish this writing and revise the portion which is taught to you. For today, this much is enough. Okay. Write it. I will give you time for writing. Take your time and write. Yes. Once again I will read all the answers. First one is how to, not first one means third one. Now whatever is given on the board, no, from that first one. How to plants adapt to life in desert. Their roots go deep and are spread out wide to absorb as much underground water as possible. Their leaves are reduced to spine to avoid loss of water. Then the next question, name the 3 types of aquatic plants. Give one example of it. We have written all the 3 categories and then we have written the example for that. Floating plants. Example is water hyacinth. Then the fixed plants. Example is lotus. And the last category is underwater plants, hydrilla. For today, this much is enough. Okay? Note it, learn it. We will meet next day again.